So lately, I've been thinking a lot about life and how amazing it is that how we see the world, it influences how we interact with the world. And there's that quote that when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So these are the kind of things that have been on my mind recently. So I wanted to share three quick ways for how not to live your life. And for me, like knowing a little bit about how not to do something helps me a little bit better with knowing how to do it. So I wanted to talk about that. As always, I hope it is bring some. As always, I hope it brings some perspective and helps you with living your best life. And on this podcast, we talk a lot about things about ways to build your business, ways to build up your self care, and also build up those around you. If that's something you're interested in, definitely follow the podcast. I'm going to keep this up and we'll see where it leads. And I'm really excited to continue to podcast and thank you for the support the podcast has gotten so far. Let's jump right into it. So first thought is convenience. I wanted to take you to earlier today. I was driving around, was going to play some frisbee with some friends. Didn't have any homework to do today, which was so blessed. Even though I only have two classes, still to have no homework on a Saturday is a feeling I very seldom had in college because I usually don't plan ahead that well sometimes, homework wise. Anyway, I'm driving around, wasn't able to go play Ultimate Frisbee, got there a little late, and I was driving around. So here's a little story from earlier today. I was driving around trying to find a place to park so I could play Frisbee with some friends. Had gotten there pretty late. So convenience is interesting because you do need to have some things you do because it's convenient. Convenience is really interesting to me because so the first one is convenience. Convenience is interesting to me because there are things that you would not partake in if it wasn't within your arm's reach. That's one of the most influential, like crazy quotes to me is like it's from James Clear's book Atomic Habits. He said, "Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior." And the idea is that whatever is within arm's reach of you, you are going to be influenced by for some degree or another. Right now I have my laptop within arm's reach of me. I have my phone, and those are both things that I'm using and interacting with in this moment. Then we have things in the fridge that are really far away that I'm not interacting with at this time. It's not convenient. Today I went to go play some basketball and just shoot around and just, kind of relax and chill. I didn't have any homework to do today, which is amazing. And I was just like, gonna go chill, right? And there was this big thing going on at the park. And so it was impossible to find a parking spot. But I'm like, no, Dallin Canlin is not somebody that settles. So I just drove around. And then there's this tiny little parking spot. It's like, I can take that parking spot. I can do it. And then I started trying to go into it a little bit. And I was like, no way is this going to work. So I just drove away and I was like, you know what? I'll just go to another park. So I went to another park and actually saw this dude that I've played basketball with before. Well, and I saw this dude that I met like on Monday who was shooting around by himself. And I was like, hey, do you want to be friends? Let's play basketball sometime. And, today he was just shooting there. So I went over, shot some hoops with him, and it was great. It was awesome. The point is that I did not choose the convenient route. There's all kinds of things that are so convenient, but it's not good for us. It's not helpful. And I know this is obviously common sense, but I think it's important to keep that in mind. The best road is very seldom the convenient one. You need to have a very clear path that you create, that you plan out, and then you need to forge through. Because if you just assume that you can just plan or just live off of someone else's plan and do okay, that really doesn't work. If you don't plan for yourself, somebody is going to use you kind of thing, You got to be very careful. At the same time, convenience is necessary because we need to be able to live and breathe and, having Walmart close by or something like that, it's convenient, it's nice, but you just can't live completely by convenience. Because if you did, then you would probably buy all the TV shows, all of the movies, all the video games. And I also had this thought earlier, you cannot really collect everything. You can collect everything of one specific thing or a couple, but to collect everything of everything is insanity. And it's just not going to happen. But yeah, anyway, being convenient is good. You know, it's good to have things close by and stuff, but to live your entire life by convenience, to not go after things unless it's convenient, to not try things unless it's convenient, that is a very poor way to live life, in my humble opinion. Number two is to live only for money. I think it's very clear why this is bad. Because for one thing, you just go after something that is very material, very temporary, and then let's say you get $10 million and you haven't really helped anybody. You've like stepped on a bunch of other people to get up to the top to reach that. Well, nobody's there to celebrate with you at the top. And you're probably not going to be at the top for very long because somebody's going to find out that you stole from them or whatever. And then you're not going to have that like emotional currency or that integrity currency. So when somebody asks you about something, or nobody's going to want to like talk to you because you did it the wrong way, you cheated. And it's like, again, with like the integrity currency, you just don't have any. You don't have any of that in the bank. You have the temporary currency that can be used to buy things, but you can't really buy happiness, you know? And I know like there's a lot of misconstruency about that. I don't even know if misconstruency is a word, but it sounded cool. But yeah, you need to be very careful about that. And I've struggled with this before, where I will be like, oh, I have to make this much money, or I have to do this, that, or the other, or I'm a failure. And really that's not true. In It's a Wonderful Life, there's a really poignant quote that I love, and it says, "No man is a failure who has friends." And I 100% agree with that. And if there's even a scripture that says if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul, like what is the reward there? There's nothing. It's just not good. It's not good. And I think obviously, I don't think anybody listening to this podcast is in any danger of putting their wealth before anybody important in their life. But, you know, it's important to think like before you make tiny little mistakes, right? Like putting, I don't know, a TV show over talking to somebody that really needs to talk to you, you know, just being really cognizant of that. I think that's important. And obviously with the material stuff, you can't take it with you, so you need to be very careful about that. Getting experiences of prioritizing the knowledge that you're getting, other than just just what you're gaining from just prioritizing more experiences, I think is huge, because that's stuff that like lives on your brain and whatnot. And there's so many things I've bought that were just a waste of money, that like little stuff obviously, but it's just like, when you buy something, it takes up that space in your brain. It also takes up that space in your physical environment. And you just have to be careful. I'm trying to downsize right now, but that's another thought. It's just like, you can't live only for the material stuff, because for one thing, there's always going to be something else to buy. Yeah, so it's just not good. And finally, to be a spectator rather than a participant. And I think it's okay to be a spectator sometimes. You know, it's okay to just watch what other people are doing and learn from their experience. But at some point, you have to get out of the game. You cannot be a bench warmer the entire time. You have to be willing to get out in the game and try stuff. I mean, there's times in basketball, early days of rec league and stuff, and coach would put me in and I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm struggling, and, some guy gets past me on a move and all of a sudden I look like a fool. I mean, there's times in church ball I'd be tired, I get put in. There's times like in my church league basketball thing when I was growing up, I get put in the game and I didn't really know what to do. I just run around and, you learn from your mistakes. I remember this one day that I was just really upset. But if you don't make any mistakes, it's really hard to get anywhere because you haven't really tried anything. I mean, it's kind of like the kid who says they don't like broccoli and they've never had it. I mean, sure, it probably doesn't look that appetizing, but you need to at least try out some stuff. You never know if you're going to be bad at something if you don't try it. Like, that's so backwards. You have to be willing to try different stuff. And this was me with driving. This has been me with a number of things. I was like, oh, I just assume I'm so bad at that because I haven't done it before and it just looks difficult. But you don't really know. You don't know, man. We've talked about this before. You don't really know until you actually try the thing. And like I said, you need to have those times where you kind of ponder and think, but do not take yourself out of the game. Do not take your jersey off, because we're all in this game together. We're all learning, we're all fighting, we're all trying to learn and get better and become better versions of ourselves. And if you're a spectator, it also takes away your chances a lot of the time to be a teammate. And I find in my life that's something I am a lot, is like helping out people. Like this kid at the park, he's not really a kid. He beat me in basketball today. We did a best 2 out of 3 thing and he won. And yeah, it was a good time though. He's pretty good at basketball, but he's like an exchange student, you know? So like obviously he needs some kind of acceptance and kindness. You know, we all need that. And so just to be a kind teammate, just to be a supportive teammate is huge. But if you take yourself out of the game and sit on the sidelines, there's not too much you can do besides cheer. But one of the most beautiful, joyful things I've experienced in my life is to see somebody open for a layup or a three-pointer, metaphorically, and I throw it to them, and I don't take the glory for myself, and they just take it and they own it, and it's just like you're just so happy for them. And it's so cool to assist in their progress and to literally do that and to make that pass, be like, hey, you can do this, I'm going to help you with this. And to see them take that action is huge. Recently I talked with one of my friends from the mission, Jackson. Him and his friend are trying to Colby are trying to start a YouTube channel, and so I talked with them about that. And so this came on a day, them reaching out to me came on a day when I was feeling kind of blah. I'd been a spectator. I'd been watching my group for this group project. They'd been doing work and I had slept in and I had missed this meeting and it was bad. I hadn't really done my part. And then Jackson hits me up like, hey, Dallin, could you help me with starting this YouTube channel? And I had so much fun with it because I was able to help them out. I was able to help them prepare so that maybe they can get off to a good start with their YouTube channel. And that was so fulfilling. And to completely take myself out of the game and say, I am not useful, I'm not going to be helpful in any circumstance, is so bad. I've been the spectator before. I've been the negative Nancy, negative Ned. I've been that before. It is not the way to live life. It really helps to live life with your arms like open and your mind open and your ears open, willing to help out people, knowing that we all have something to give and we all have something to contribute. With that all said, I know I was just spitting whatever this whole episode, but I wanted to get this out there. I'm really trying to get the podcast more focused, really figure out what I want to do with that, get the blog and stuff up and running. It's so easy to say something and to not do it, and to just over promise and under deliver. And I find I've done that before and I'm really tired of it, but we're going to get better and you're going to get better. And we're all going to keep learning. But I hope this gave you some perspective. So living completely by convenience, only money and material things, and being a spectator is not good. Not good. But yeah. Maybe I'll make another episode of The Positive. I don't know. But I had a good time recording this. Thank you so much for listening. Definitely follow the podcast for more stuff coming soon. I am doing an interview this week, which will be fantastic. So you'll see that next Monday. Thank you so much for your patience. Don't forget to yield today. It'll be a better tomorrow. All right. Spitting fire, dude.